You've heard wrong.
America is actually the future of public transportation. Wait, what? How is that the case? America's transportation system is failing. It's all driving. Amtrak's a mess. The New York subway is old and crumbling. The LA subway system is filled with homeless people and druggies and mentally ill people. But what if the real future may be in personal autonomous vehicles? And that means that America has an advantage that no other nation outside China can replicate. Autonomous vehicles fits America really well, especially due to its reliance on car-centric infrastructure and suburbia. And it also fixes a common complaint that Americans have of the daily grind of commuting, which is the stress of driving, sitting in traffic, finding parking, navigating unfamiliar routes, or spending hours behind the wheel. Self-driving vehicles means that riders can get to point A to B while relaxed in their personal machine. They can sleep or eat, play board games, have private moments, or watch movies and more, all without touching the wheel. No need to walk while feeling tired, and there's not a need to take public transportation with its crowded carriages, noise, or lack of privacy. This setup is an amazing lifesaver if you really want to sleep during a long car journey, or if the weather is bad, if you're sick or frail, if you have children, or traveling in large groups but want to stay private. The problem of traffic jams will also be massively reduced. Traffic jams are caused due to human error when one driver brakes, another reacts, and the slowdown ripples backwards through traffic. Autonomous vehicles can react more strongly and consistently, potentially reducing that very error that has created the jams in the first place. Due to this, it also eliminates one of the frustrating things about driving, which is being stuck in traffic, and it massively reduces the appeal that public transportation is a silver bullet for a lot of mass sprawl. Now the next question is whether this model will be replicated across the world and not just in America. And even if it does this spell the death knell for public transit? The Anglosphere countries, especially Canada, Australia and New Zealand, are where this new American model will have the most success, since those nations are also way more car reliant than the rest of the world, even if their public transit is somewhat better, and also have similar mass sprawl and suburban culture that the USA has. But aside from that, this is where the picture gets murkier. For Europe in general, in places outside the downtown core and where public transit is relatively weaker, this model will still work. However, the problem with this is that it does not make the roads less crowded. Public transit has this advantage where it can compact a lot of people into one carriage or a few compartments. Private self-driving vehicles simply do not do this. So even if the grind of public transit is solved, this model simply does not fit for those living in denser areas, where for all the faults of public transit, it would still be far preferable to the self-driving car model. And of course in Asia, in major places like Tokyo, Hong Kong, or Shanghai, this model is simply impossible, given the high number of populations and the dense nature of those cities. This does not also account for different riding habits. For example, many in Southeast Asia prefer riding e-bikes or motorcycles over cars. The self-driving car model simply does not address the cultural gap, which is why in places in Asia, cities in Europe, and even in places like Toronto, New York, Chicago, London, or Melbourne, public transit will still become an essential part of daily life. Now, the implications for all of this are huge, because this shows that a lot of conventional wisdom by public transit advocates might not be inevitable. I mean, urban planning enthusiasts in the 20th century were hyper-obsessed with the suburban model and incentivizing car culture. While this has many benefits, it also has a lot of drawbacks, like ripping down historical neighborhoods and decreasing public transit options, especially with the mass closure of historical railways and streetcars in the middle of the 20th century. A similar style of hyper-obsession could be said for dense urban living advocates. They frequently denigrate the American suburb, yet ignore its genuine appeal, especially to a lot of millennials and those with families that prefer space, privacy, and their own yard, alongside enjoying places with better schools and less crime. Referendums to build more public transit sometimes fail to pass, given fears over cost overruns, higher taxes, or potential low ridership. I mean, who can blame them, considering even in places like Los Angeles, Denver, or a lot of American cities, ridership is often far below projected, and those systems are unprofitable. This self-driving model fixes a lot of American frustrations with driving, while bypassing the drawbacks associated with low ridership or the need to spend billions, often with cost overruns, on a new transit system. In short, while nothing is perfect, this American model of public transit might have more benefits if private autonomous vehicles becomes mainstream, thus reducing the need or urgency for mass public transit projects as an end in and of itself. Now, what are your thoughts on this? Are personal autonomous vehicles the future? Or are all of this still doomed to fail? Comment down in the comment section.